In this video, we're going to talk about ethnocentrism, othering, in-groups, and out-groups. And by the end of the video, I hope you can understand the interconnection between all of these terms. Ethnocentrism is a term that we have already talked about, and it means looking at another culture and viewing that culture through the lens of your culture's beliefs and values. And so when you look at another culture, you tend to think they are doing things wrong because they are doing it differently than the way your culture does it. One way to talk about ethnocentrism is to use this diagram where A and B are different cultures. And so when A is different from B, the culture in Bangladesh is different from the culture in Myanmar. That's differentiation. One culture is different from the other. But the tendency with ethnocentrism is that when A is different from B, A tends to see themselves as greater than B, as better than B. So differentiation almost always leads to stratification, especially when there is a difference of power. In-groups and out-groups are, in a sense, groups within a culture, so an in-group can look ethnocentrically at an out-group. For example, a sport team. If you are rooting for the Bangladeshis to win an Olympic event, all the other teams are out-groups. And so there is a tendency for an in-group to see themselves as better than the out-group. We are all members of many groups in our culture, and some of them are in-groups, and the ones that we don't belong to are out-groups. But there are people in those groups, so for them, we are the out-group. And so just like a lot of things in sociology, it's a matter of perspective. I want you to recall taking the role of the other concept when you think about in-groups and out-groups. Othering is the idea of seeing the other as different and therefore not as good as your in-group. Othering can be toxic when one group sees themselves as superior to the other, because when one group sees itself as superior to the other, they can use their power to marginalize that group. That we call toxic othering, and we need to talk more about that in the next video. We are all members of many groups. Our culture is a group, our sports team is a group, our workplace is a group, and this class is a group. We all are involved in many groups, and some of them are more formal than others. In this video, I want to talk about informal organizations, formal organizations, bureaucracies, and the process of bureaucratization. Informal organizations are exactly that. They are informal. There are no structured rules or laws or policies, just an informal group of, for example, learners that get together to have a study group. That's an informal organization. Informal organizations can be very small, just 2 or 3 or 4 people, but they can be very large as well, like an association of people who come together for a cause. For example, donating blood and so on. A group of refugees might be trying to get people together to donate blood. That's an informal organization. They have no permanent structure and so on. The opposite of that is a formal organization, and that has laws and policies and rules. The NGOs that work in Cox's Bazar, in the camps, are formal organizations. They have a history behind them, they have policies, and they have a structure to them. A bureaucracy is a form of a formal organization. Bureaucracies are organizations that have a structure intended to maximize rationality and efficiency. A bureaucracy is a way of organizing work and missions in a very large number of people. It is almost impossible to organize, for example, a government without it being bureaucratized. So bureaucratization is a process that is very common in large formal organizations, and it happens everywhere around the world. Bureaucracies are a form of organization that cultures can't avoid once they get fairly large. And so, for example, in Bangladesh, there are tons of different bureaucracies: medical bureaucracies, governmental bureaucracies, community bureaucracies, businesses are bureaucracies, and so on. So bureaucratic organization is key to understand if you want to understand your world and the impact bureaucracies have on you.